Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at Grammar Exercise 1 from Chapter 25 of the Road to Latin textbook. Now before we dive too far into it, like I always tell you, if you want more resources on the Road to Latin textbook, or just Chapter 25 in general, you can always check out my website. There you'll find the grammar exercises, you'll also find grammar explanations, right? So the grammar notes, some videos, things like that, vocab help, a bunch of things to try to help bring the chapter to life for you. Now before we dive into actually going through this grammar exercise, what I always tell you on these, the first thing you want to do is make sure that you've read through the grammar notes, right? So if you haven't done a deep dive into the grammar and kind of worked your way through and practiced a little bit, this would be a bad idea to do the grammar exercise, right? Because you're not going to know what's going on. So what I'd always recommend is after you've read through the notes, you should do the vocab, right? And you should have already read the story at this point. So the best way you're going to learn the grammar is by reading the actual story in Latin and kind of seeing the grammar in context. I always recommend doing these grammar exercises at the end as sort of like the cherry on top, just to double check and make sure that you really understood what's going on. And if you really want more help, there's more resources I put on my website, things like Magistrula that could help you too. But these are just to make sure that you're feeling good. And if you can make your way through these grammar exercises, it probably means that you've understood the whole chapter, that you've got the grammar down, the vocab, the story, and that you're ready to move on. Okay? If you haven't done that yet, pause the video, go work on it. But this video should not be the first time you're seeing grammar exercise 1, right? You should have already done it on your own and use this as a double check just to make sure you're on the right track. So with that being said, let's dive in. And again, if your answers match mine, you know that you're probably in a pretty good spot, okay? So part 1 of grammar exercise 1 is about declining the Latin expressions for the following, right? So you're just trying to flip these into Latin, okay? So what I did here is I just put them for all the cases just so you could kind of see it a little bit. The book's a little vague. I'm not sure if they just wanted nominative or not, but either way, I gave you all of them just to help you out a little bit, because what you're really working on here in chapter 25 is looking at third declension nouns, noun adjective agreement, and just making sure that all that kind of clicks so that no matter what what noun you might get, you can match it up to an adjective, okay? So the word you're looking at here is contest, kertamen, okay? So when you say, or when you use kertamen, the thing you want to remember about it is that it's a neuter noun, right? It's a third declension neuter noun. So it's going to change the way that your adjective looks. So to say great contest, you'd have magnum kertamen. That's the nominative singular. For the rest of them, just going down the cases, you'd have magni kertamenis, magno kertameni, magnum kertamen, and magno kertamene. And the reason these look this way is because kertamen's a neuter noun. The nominative and the accusative are always going to be the same thing, right? That's why you're saying magnum kertamen. And you want to remember that you have to match and use the neuter form of your adjective. Okay, so again, we just always match in case, number, and gender. The second phrase you have here is beautiful body. That would be pulchrum corpus, right? So again, corpus is one of the new vocab words for this chapter. It's a third declension noun. It's neuter, corpus corporis, right? It's a third declension neuter noun. So you just match it up, right? Case, number, gender. You'd have pulchrum corpus, pulchri corporis, pulchro corporo, pulchrum corpus, and pulchro corpore. And again, the endings don't have to be the same, right? It's totally fine. You're using a third declension noun with a first and second declension adjective. It's about case, number, and gender, okay? The third phrase we have here is pleasing gift, right? There's a couple different ways to say gift in Latin. The one that they're using in chapter 25 is really like a reward, munus, right? But again, munus muneris, it's a third declension noun. It's neuter, means reward or gift. Pleasing is an adjective, right? Accepto saum. So you'd say accepta munus, accepti muneris, accepto muneri, accepto munus, and accepto munere, right? Again, you're just matching case, number, and gender. The fourth phrase is happy spectator. So the word for spectator is literally spectator, right? It looks exactly the same as in English, okay? Again, it's a third declension noun, but this one is not neuter. Spectator is a masculine word, right? Spectator, spectatoris. So you have to kind of use a slightly different form of your adjective, right? Remember, you're doing case, number, gender, so it's going to be the masculine form. So you'd say laetus spectator, laeti spectatoris, laeto spectatori, laetum spectatorem, and laeto spectatore. Okay, so again, they're not going to match in terms of how they're spelled because you have a third declension noun and a first and second declension adjective, but that's fine. The case, number, and gender is matching on these. Now, the last word we have here is long winter. And again, the word for winter, right, hiems is one we've seen in a previous chapter, but it's feminine. So you'd say longa hiems, longai hiemis, longa hiemi, longam hiemem, and then you have longa hieme, right? So you're just going down your third declension noun endings and you're matching it to a feminine adjective. Okay, so the first part is really just matching. Again, you just think case number and gender. There's nothing too complicated about it. Once you get the hang of how these adjectives work and using third declension nouns, things like that, it actually gets pretty easy. Okay. The second part of the grammar exercise is about supplying proper case endings and translating. Okay, so these are like fill in the blank. So you have in this sentence, right? In number one, you would put spectatores magni cum studio ad certamen properant. Okay. Now, magni and studio are the two blanks you're putting in, and it's because you're saying the spectators hasten to the contest with great zeal. It's ablative, so magni studio, right? With great zeal, great effort is what you're doing here. Again, you're just filling in the proper ending. All right. For number two, you'd have erant multa certamina in circo maximo. So there were many contests in the Circus Maximus. Now, again, here, because you have a neuter noun, the a is what you're going to put in for accusative plural, right? So you have multa certamina. That's where you get the plural direct object, right? The accusative plural, many contests. In number three, you have equus pedes albos et corpus album habet. So you're saying the horse has white feet, pedes albos, right? You're just matching the word white to pedes, to feet. So he has, he or she, I guess, has white feet and a white body, a corpus album, right? Now here, again, because corpus is a third declension noun, and it's neuter, you're getting a slightly different spelling, corpus album. But again, case number and gender on both of these, and you'll get them to match. Not a big deal. On number four, you have multi equi corpora alba habent. So you're saying many horses have white bodies. So this is actually very similar to number three, but you're pluralizing it. So corpus becomes corpora because you're talking about many horses, right? So they have bodies, plural. And the a ending is because it's a neuter noun, right? So here you have accusative plural. It's going to end in an a because the word body, corpus, is neuter. Okay, so they have white bodies, corpora alba. Then you have number five, right? Number five is victores munera amant. So you're saying the victors, right? The victors love gifts, right? It's going to be plural. Again, munus is one of our third declension neuter nouns. So munera with the a is how you'd put it into plural direct object, right? Accusative plural. So you just have again victores munera amant. The victors love gifts. And on number six, the last one we have, you have munus parvum erat acceptum. So the small gift, the munus parvum, and again, it's parvum because munus is a neuter noun. So it's just matching case number and gender, right? Parvum is your neuter nominative singular adjective. So the small gift was pleasing, acceptum. So parvum and acceptum are both modifying munus, right? That's why they both have that neuter nominative singular ending, right? The small gift was pleasing. So that's all it is for grammar exercise one. Like I said, it's a good way to review matching case number and gender with your adjectives, looking at third declension adjectives. It's a good way to go over, neuter nouns and gender, and especially matching noun adjective agreement. There's a lot of good things you're seeing in here. But if you have any questions at all, put it in the comments below. I'll be happy to help. But otherwise, you want to just practice it. And if your answers matched up with mine and you feel really good about it, that's probably a good sign that you're ready to move on from the grammar in this chapter. But again, use these grammar exercises just as a double check to make sure you're on the right path. I think it's a lot better to learn the grammar by actually reading the stories. But these are also just like an extra way to make sure that you're on the right track. Okay? Like I said, if you need anything, let me know. Otherwise, keep at it and good luck.